seeing his parents. Like, this is crazy for me. But yes.
But, you know, so here's the thing. You talk about surreal. The real surreal nature of this is that if Hulk Hogan isn't on the lot filming Thunder in Paradise, the chances are that Eric Bischoff never has a meeting with Hulk Hogan about joining WCW.
Yeah, because he was totally a Vince McMahon guy that was putting him over, but then he lost to the Ultimate Warrior.
Right.
And so his heat.
And he had retired at that point in time in storyline purposes. Coming to find out that his series is going to be canceled. At this time, Eric Bischoff is around. Ric Flair helps arrange a meeting with Hulk Hogan. Bischoff and Hogan meet up, and a rather large check is written in Hulk Hogan's name. And just like that, suddenly the acting bug isn't biting Hulk Hogan quite so hard anymore.
Yeah, but wrestling history is about to change.
Yes, it is about to change. But this being WCW's biggest signing ever, you can't just announce this as a signing that you've got Hulk Hogan now coming to WCW. I mean, this was the biggest defection ever in wrestling at the time.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
If you really paid, and I don't know if there's ever been a bigger defection in wrestling since. Like Kurt Angle going to TNA, but I don't even
there's no bigger baby face than Hulk Hogan. And we're talking in the 80s.
Right.
Not just a defection, as in him, getting away from Vince McMahon. It was the character, the hero, the idol everybody looked up to.
Hulkamania ran wild. If you did not know who Hulk Hogan was in the 80s and then like early part of the 90s, you lived under a rock on top of a rock.
It was big. Was he getting away from Vince McMahon Senior or Junior?
Junior,
right? Okay.
Yeah, Senior was done. Once at this point, all of the properties and everything have been like bought in and sold under Junior.
And Junior, to his credit, Junior was trying to wrap up Hulkamania. Vince McMahon Jr. was always moving towards the next young talent. And he didn't want to stick around with Hulk Hogan too long, whereas Hulk Hogan still thought he had a lot of good years left in the tank.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so WCW afforded him that opportunity. So in June of 1994, they signed Hulk Hogan. And what do? They hold a huge ticker tape parade on the Disney backlot to celebrate the signing of Hulk Hogan.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
So Hulk Hogan rode in a red and yellow car down the streets of MGM Studios.
Of course.
With Jimmy Hart in the backseat with his microphone.
Wow.
Yes. And they held a press conference on the streets of America where Galaxy's Edge now stands, where Hulk Hogan announced that he was coming over to WCW. And once Hulk Hogan was aboard, well, now suddenly Disney started lifting all those WCW restrictions.
That we had the last show where they were like, hey, this isn't nothing, like fans, like they understood Hulk Hogan as an icon and then gave it some. Okay.
Absolutely. So now all of a sudden, like WCW wrestlers were allowed to start filming vignettes all around the parks. Like there's
they can show up for the kids and everything.
Yeah, well, there was a famous intro where Ricky the Dragon Steamboat comes out breathing fire, and he's coming out under that replica of the Washington Square Arch for the streets of America. And then you had the Public Enemy.
Oh,
yeah, you remember the Public Enemy? They were found splashing around the Muppet Vision 3D fountain back when it was a full Muppet Vision 3D fountain. Like they started allowing wrestlers in and around the park.
That's smart. Yeah.
Yes. Then so when WCW debuts their new flagship show called Monday Night Nitro, now with Hulk Hogan behind them, they don't have to be confined to the Disney MGM studios anymore. Now they've got so many eyes on the product that you can go ahead and start touring again. Because now you're not just filling the seats with 500, 800 fans, you're filling arenas. And so Monday Night Nitro takes off, and now WCW and WWF are in direct competition for viewers. And in fact, the entire opening sequence of Monday Night Nitro is filmed on Disney's Streets of America.
Oh.
So if you remember that opening, there's a trail of fire that ignites on the storefronts of the Streets of America. leading to this giant metal Monday Night Nitro sign that kind of explodes.
Yes.
Well, that sign was placed right outside the former entrance of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids place at Adventure. That's exactly where that sign was.
Honey, I Shrunk WWE's audience back in the day. Yes.
Wait, just like, is this what you're?
Oh, you want to play it?
Yeah, I just found it. I'm curious because I wanted to see this.
Yeah, play the opening.
Okay,
let's see it.
Yeah, I never realized that.
That's the Streets of America right there.
That is! Oh my God!
And some of those buildings still exist.
That is awesome!
I never paid attention to that.
Look at that!
I just like,
I had never noticed until I saw that video.
That is blatantly the Streets of America.
Yeah, that's the building right.
So that graphic, that's right out there in front of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I remember that like
that
it was
is
yesterday.
Awesome.
Monday Night Wars, baby. That was something else.
And so, dude, it was really synergistic at that point in time. And go figure what Michael Eisner run the company. But I mean, WCW was taking a page out of Disney's book. And so Nitro being a live show, WCW takes it on the road because now they can start filling arenas again. And while they were still taping their lesser shows at MGM Studios, Monday Night Nitro was hitting the ground running.
Building a lot of steam.
Right.
Yeah, because like Bischoff, like you said in the last show, he was smart. He figured out that WWE, just for the sake of, they were taping the show, so he would just tell you
the results.
Yeah, the results. So you would be like, yeah, why turn? Bischoff was dangerous.
Yeah, WCW was live. Monday Night Raw, the WWE program, was pre-taped. So Eric Bischoff would give off the finishes live on air. So that way there was no reason to watch it because he would tell you who won and who lost. So 1996, this is about the time when wrestling is at the height of its popularity. This is when both companies are kind of blowing up. 1996, what else happens in 1996? Does anybody have any idea? That might have interrupted WCW's business model.
The Gulf War, huh?
No.
Their business model? Oh God, dog! Like
nothing.
No, wait. They had to move. They had to.
In 96.
96. The Olympics are taking place in Atlanta, Georgia.
I was there for that.
On the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Where Kurt Angle won his golden medal with a broken freaking neck.
Oh.
That was WCW's home base of operations. In fact, back in the old days when WCW was on the road and touring, they always tried to stay around Atlanta because that way the guys could locate in Atlanta, and so if they had to drive to Hartford or whatever, they could just go ahead and rent a car and go over there, come right back. There was a central spot of operations. But this time in 1996, the Olympics have taken over Atlanta, Georgia, and for 5 weeks in a row, anyone who knew anything about how to operate a camera or how to run audio was booked up for the Atlanta Olympics.
Oh, wow.
Which left WCW in a state of, oh, shoot, we can't really take this business on the road anymore. So what do?
They improvise.
They look back to who had their back to begin with.
Good old WOW.
Was that Disney?
Yeah, they go back to Disney. WCW relied on its relationship with Disney. And at this point in time, WCW is red freaking hot. We're talking about a week off of Hulk Hogan's heel turn at Bash at the Beach, where Hulk Hogan became a bad guy for the first time in forever. And Kevin Nash, my favorite wrestler of all time, and Scott Hall, my second favorite wrestler of all time, joined WCW and formed the N.W.O.
New World Order. Yeah.
New World Order. Laugh.
And WCW became red friggin' hot and beat WWF at the time, soon to become WWE, in the ratings for 83 weeks.
Best time to be a wrestling fan ever.
Absolutely.